What's up, guys? Today we're going to be doing a breakdown and analysis of my origins. So, I first started off in 2018, and one of my older classmates taught me how to use Scratch. Now, Scratch is like a simple learning platform for kids, but then that's what got me into making games. So after a few years, I had been doing Scratch for a while, making pretty complicated games. And then onwards from that, it was my dream to get a personal computer. And then in grade 6, like 2 days before that, I asked my teacher at the time if I could install Unity on there. They said no and said, why? Because in our country, you would be in high school in grade 7. So then, in the summer of grade 6, got my first PC. Now, at this time, a rising Gorilla Tag and VR content creator, Ray VR, started getting pretty popular. Now, at the time, I joined his Discord server. We talked a bit. Well, we talked after this, but he wanted to know if anyone knew how to make games because he wanted to make his own Gorilla Tag fan game. So then I said yes, even though I didn't know how to. Then we started posting updates. It was pretty bad, but then my PC got a corrupted SSD, so then I quit, got mad, didn't talk to him for a few months, and then I started HorrorWorks Studio. The HorrorWorks team may have seen them, may have not, but it changed my life. But I checked it out. My game took me 2 months. Paradox worked on Ray Runners for about 5 months and didn't even have a proper player model yet. Now, that infuriated me beyond belief. So then I hit up Ray and said, yo, can I rejoin Ray Runners? And he said, yes, please. Paradox hasn't been doing anything. So then me and Portal started working on the new versions of Ray Runners. Now, Portal didn't help that much, but we were pretty similar. He would only show up sometimes. He would sometimes not even show up, and we had a few other people, but they just lied and ghosted us. One person only made Gorilla Tag clones, which means they had no knowledge except for how to use the basics of Unity, which is pretty stupid. So, I also got my first VR, Quest 2, the one I'm recording on. It's still pretty laggy, but I like it. I much prefer this over my Quest 3S. Now, we have so many fun memories of HorrorWorks. So then I started my YouTube career a bit before that, a month or some. This is how I started out when I first started. Decent, I guess. Still pretty bad. It was the color I got when I first started, and I saw Medical Mask somewhere over there, so I was that is sick, I'm gonna get that. And then I chose this scarf. Now, over time, I was ooh, that pumpkin pie looks nice for Thanksgiving, so then I added that, giving me my pumpkin pie look, which is what my channel is based off of today. Now, this is how I look for like a couple weeks, and then they brought out this giant new update where they were talking about this new thing where it had like a bunch of slime stuff. Like, I loved it. Some people might have not liked it, but I loved it. So then I had this avatar for a few months, and then I was like, this color looks a bit weird. So then I just swapped it to 199. But then people were like, bro, you're a minigames kid, and oh my god, get off the game, J-Man, curly clone, because this is how I look like. And now I find right now this looks very weird. It just doesn't match anything. So then I was like, you know what, I'm tired of being unoriginal, like, it sucks. So then I went to 198, and then that's what I used for a couple weeks. It looks more like what my old profile pictures were based off of. As you can see, it does not look correct, but it looks similar. Now, after that, I was like, still getting J-Man curly comments. So then, swap to 197. Now, I find it's a nice color code. Like, don't get me wrong, it's nice. It's what I used for like 2 years. Now, even though this looks pretty nice in 2026, I made this color code in 2024. In 2026, I just put it down to 196 for the more greenish color, because people kept calling me blue, light blue. Now, that really infuriated me, because I was nothing like a light blue. So then I swapped to this year. And in 2025, I just saw a bunch of bundles that came out and slowly added onto them. So first, it started with having the flag and the spatula. So in around late 2024, this is how my avatar looked. Now, I didn't post with the back cosmetics, I believe. I think they weren't good enough for me to record with or something. But then in 2025, I believe they released this rug looking thing and the bee bundle. Now, I was like, this beekeeper bundle is pretty nice. I think I'll get it, because then my avatar will be rare and no one will have it. So then this is what I posted on my old YouTube channels for a long time, and I was like, no one will have this avatar. Now, I did own the whistle, the Cave Wave whistle, for a while too, because that's right when they did the revamp and stuff. And then I added that in this to my avatar in 2025, 2026. So this is what it looked like for a little while. And then I just added on a clicking thing. Huh? No. I can. But before I added clicker thing, I had the cake for the 4th year, I think, and then the clicking thing. Now, Now this is what my avatar looked like around the later days of my recordings on my channel. It's a pretty basic fit. This is what most people know me by. Around this time, I met a bunch of creators, made friends with them, became friends with Ray, Spearmint, Ketchup, and Mr. Balls VR. And now they're like all great friends of mine. I met so many others as well. Also, this is around the time where we started making Horrorworks, my first game. It was really good. I just am sad, like, I didn't get that many recordings. Here's some clips of them. Now, we never really had videos of them, which is sad. We only have, like, pretty old ones, like Ketchup's first look at Horrorworks. And that's like pretty much it besides my new Horrorworks update. Horrorworks is so much bigger now. It's like 100 megabytes. But then after I rejoined Ray because of Paradox, me and Portal started working. Like I released like a really big updates and Portal would release pretty small updates in like triple or double time. Now Ray was always telling me, slow down, bro. Oh, this is amazing. And then Portal just randomly ghosted us. Now that really confused me. Why Portal just left. Sometimes when we had really big issues, I would hit him up and say, yo, bro, I have some problems. He was like, I don't know how to fix them. Now, Ray Runners was at like 300 megabytes, but now there's a version of it lost to time with like a bunch of features that would never seen later day. It was the one that I published while rated was 3.4, and the one that's lost to time is 3.6. And that was like very fun times for us. And then I went into high school and stopped like making content a bunch more, started going off VR, like all that. And then we kind of just like stopped talking. Then me and Ray thought of this really cool idea, but because of Gorilla Tag's, Unity's limitations, I didn't get to do it. This is also when I started wearing Whistle. We couldn't get it working because of the limitations of Unity, and I wanted to try Unreal Engine, but see, my PC cannot run it because I got a pretty bad PC. Now, my avatar may be recognizable to someone because I've made so many friends. I've met some pretty famous creators, and I had a really good run on VR and stuff. So now that we're done talking about when I made VR games, we're gonna take a look at my 2D and 3D games that are non-VR. Well, I also did have the FNAF Help Wanted clone, but then I bought the actual game, so I really wanted to make some games that are 2D where we could just play with friends. Now, I wasn't able to do it because of one major issue. I don't know how to 3D model. Now, because I can't 3D model, it was a big issue. So I would go on Sketchfab for majority of my models, and they would work, but I couldn't have a consistent art style. That's the whole reason why Ray Runners look so weird to me. Now, for Ray Runners and Horrorworks, I had really big issues that I've always hated about them. So that's why I'm gonna fix them. So for the new Ray Runners slash Horrorworks, we're gonna be making Rayworks. Now, Rayworks is gonna be a combination of Ray Runners and Horrorworks with its own custom art style, and we already made a player model. It's gonna have like customizable stuff. You're gonna be like a robot endo frame, and cosmetics would be like exteriors. Ray, when I told Ray about it, he was like, because I told him the players don't have like actual hands, like where they're Chica. So then he was like, oh, where they're Chica, and then made a beak. And I sent him my prototype image. I don't know if I still have it on my PC, but if I do, here is right here. Now, even if we don't make it popular, I don't care if I'm popular or not. It's just the time that it's the time and friends I've made about Horrorworks Studio. Horrorworks Studio has been so much more than I thought it would be, and it's just what I wanted. Now, I'm going to be clear with you. When I first started game development, I didn't use AI at all. It actually never existed. And when I made Ray Runners, ChatGPT sucks so bad it couldn't even make a texture. Like, I remember I was with Minty and I told it to add blood splatter to the texture that I was using. I think here's a screenshot of the chat. Now, it was really funny. I was saying, don't use ChatGPT, it sucks. And we were like laughing about it. And now ChatGPT is like insane. Like, back when Horrorworks happened, we were friends with so many people. Like, that friend group has gotten a lot smaller. My popularity's gotten a bit bigger, actually. Now my ProCat dev account just hit the triple digits. It's while my old main account still hasn't. And thank you all for the support. Now, let's go back to the 3D 2D games. Now, so I started a few commissions, but I quickly closed that because of the strange request, and I was selling for pretty cheap. There was this one 2D game that I tried making, kinda like Silksong. This was before it got fully released, but a few months after it did get released, so good for you, Big Cherry teams, I think. But it didn't work properly, like, it infuriated me. So then I ended up tweaking the model a bit, like the 2D sprite. And then there was this one Discord thing where they were hosting solo dev. So I made a pretty simple horror, like, game where, like, you could do task stuff with the pumpkin player model. Like, it was a Silksong player model that I had with a pumpkin on their head. Now, I scrapped that real quick because it was a decent game, yet the player model was infuriating, and it just didn't look quite right because I can do sprite art, but I usually don't make sprite sheets and stuff, and I wanted it to where you could click your player to interact, but because I used a script to flip the plane in a 3D world, I couldn't make it flip the actual thing as well in the 3D world because it was a child object and stuff. Now, I could have a pretty easy fix, but another thing that made me pretty mad was the camera system. I don't know why. I tried making it smooth, like I could make it zoom in and stuff, but when moving, it was like jittery, like badly, and I just ended up quitting because it was a 72-hour game jam. I usually never make my game characters and stuff myself, except for 2D. I usually just make icons, draw stuff, and I never actually had a modeler. I think only things that I know of that got modeled was with Ray on Ray Runners. Like, he modeled the player model and stuff, yet still, like, they weren't that good, and majority of the models weren't made by any of us, or they were pretty bad if I made them, or when Ray did it, it like was lacking texture and depth, and were pretty simple. And a lot of the times, when exporting and importing, when Ray exported it, perfectly fine, but when I imported them, like half the normals would be flipped while the other half wouldn't be, so I can't just flip the normals because then the other half of the texture would also break. Now, that wasn't a big issue. We still worked on Ray Runners. Such a good game now. I suggest y'all try it. It's like 300 megabytes. But back on to my 2D and 3D games once again. We had a problem where we could not get things. Wait, no. Okay, wait. Okay, but I had a problem with my 2D games. Like, I only make 3D games. I never make 2D pixel art games. I can do art for them, but like, the functionality of it is just not what I'm used to. So I scrapped the game. I made 3 variations of them with the same player textures. One with a pumpkin, one with green hair, and another was like all 3 of them mixed, and the third one was just a high resolution detailed art version. And that was for dialogue, as I wanted it to be a roguelike. Now, I ended up scrapping that. I don't think it's even released. But then, after that, I made Quantum Nexus and Five Nights at Fredbear's or something like that. Final Nights at Fredbear's. I don't know what I called it. It was pretty bad, but okay. To start off with, we're going to be talking about Quantum Nexus. Now, Quantum Nexus, it was a game, really good idea, just I could not get ideas for puzzles and ideas for models. Now, in the game, you would have multiple tools you would have to work together. Portal gun, like Portal, yet it had something else. The field shifter. I don't know if the portal gun was like Portal. I can't remember, but I made like an entire dialogue storyline, made it in a few days, that introduced you to the characters as like end credits, but with like the character's point of view. Now, they were like inventors and stuff. They made a few inventions. It was kind of like a parody of Portal, but like with a lot more stuff. Like, they made something that was similar to Portal Gun. I don't remember exactly what it did, but you had it in the game. Yeah, I remember. It was like a paint gun, and wherever you shot took you to the alternate dimension, yet I had a problem with it. So what I wanted to do was like, if you had paint shot on the wall and then that made the wall invisible in that part, so it didn't work properly. So then I made it wherever you shot, it would turn it from red to blue, which if like you made the wall in the red universe, that wall didn't exist. It would make the wall invisible, slash fully disabling it. Now, there's also this other object that put you into different dimensions. Like, if you just shot a hole through wall and then you picked up the cube, you wouldn't be able to complete it because the trigger to where you put on the cube does not exist. Now, to get around that, I made it so there was a thing called the quantum field manipulator. Wait, no, that sounds similar to the gravity field manipulator, but I can't remember exactly what it's called. But what it would do is travel you into like an alternate dimension with the same stuff, but some stuff were removed or added, kind of like what the old portal gun type thing was meant to work like. So all of the features were like in their proof of concept phase, yet I never really released it because it was just infuriating to make puzzle ideas and make it fun. So I quit. Why you bullying? I couldn't make map ideas, and just it felt like too unpolished. So I did release it, yet it never got to the point where I wanted, so I just quit it. I never really mention it anymore, but that's because I don't really care about it. Now, let's go on the final Quantum Nexus Dressed. We're gonna start talking about the final Nights at Fredbear's, or whatever I called it. So, the game was like decent, but I used a bunch of other people's models and I couldn't get it to feel right. The enemy tracking felt like very snappy, so they wouldn't smoothly move, but it felt like they were like just snapping, kind of feeling like an old game on PlayStation 3 or 2, and still even those felt better. Now, the biggest problem with this was like the graphics looked really good, but the actual gameplay was underwhelming, not easy to follow, and just pretty unpolished. And at the time, I joined this FNAF YouTuber's Discord server, and I shared my game, and I got a lot of hate for no reason, which ended up me canceling the game. You can find the games on itch.io, but the website I'm currently using is kind of like itch.io, but it's local GitHub files. So yeah. Now, those Nights at Fredbear's is like pretty polished game. I used the AI voice for the phone guy and stuff, but like wasn't that good, and because of the hate that was related with it, I just quit. Now, Now, even though it was like a pretty good game, it was pretty fun and difficult. Like, making a 3D FNAF game was a bit too out my level, as I don't know how to make the nav mesh feel nice. I could have taken one from a Gorilla Tag fan game, which would be Horrorworks Array Runners, but it just wouldn't feel the same because the animations and stuff. And I wanted it to spot you with its eyes / multiple ray casts instead of just always chasing you. And I also wanted it to have a way to sneak around them and such. I also added a springlock suit, which you can wear, which if you sprinted or such, you could get springlocked, and you have a chance, a 1 out of 25 chance to get springlocked, one getting in or out, and then while you're in it, the longer you're in, higher chance and such. Now, it wasn't thought out too well, but it worked. But main issue with my game is art style was bland. There was nothing really much to do, and there was already a game that was like it that was way better, the Final Nights, or those nights at Fredbear's. Now that game's really good and stuff, but the game I made just didn't feel good. Well, everyone else's did. So I just quit those games. Now there was this other one called Protocol something. It was gonna be a Backrooms multiplayer, but then I saw how many of those already exist, so I quit it. But then, like a week later, I was like, you know what? My friends love this one ghost hunting type game on Roblox, so I'm gonna make that. So the original thing of the game is, it was kind of like House Flipper. You start out with limited money buying houses and then like being able to clean it for money and all that, but instead it would be buying houses, getting rid of the ghosts, and reselling houses, and then getting paid to like get rid of them. Now you would also have to buy your own supplies like salt, like was like the detector things. I don't remember the names, but it was kind of like that. Now, I quit it because getting everything to sync up with Photon was really annoying me, because I would need to sync the money, need the PlayFab and everything, and I was not ready to do that. So then, because of that, I learned how to make non-Gorilla Tag fan games in Photon, but I don't really care about that. Now okay. So, even in 2018, I started my YouTube channel. I think it was in 2018 or during COVID. I started it. It was Procat999. That's where I got my original name. Now, beware, I was really young at the time. Like maybe 7 or 8. But that's pretty young. So, I was making YouTube videos with Xcorder on Minecraft modding and stuff, and it was like pretty weird coming back and listening to it. Now I fell for so many fake things. Like on Bedrock Edition, you can set your name to basically anything. So then I played like 100 days with a fake Technoblade. Now this was before he died. So like, after I started my new YouTube channel, it kind of made me feel bad that technically I scammed my old viewers on saying that I played with the real Technoblade, even though I 100% didn't. But I also was too broke for Minecraft at the time, and I bought the game on my phone. Well, first I downloaded this app where you can like pose Minecraft images, kind of like Blender's rendering tool, but for mobile and only Minecraft models. Now, I don't know what I was doing, but I did publish videos on that. Then I started making more videos on my phone and stuff. I also started this one cringy, TikTok following all the trends there. I'm surprised a majority of those trends came back, but right before I lost access to both those accounts, I sent my profile picture on TikTok to the NFT of a fake NFT creator from Pick Crew or something. And it was sitting at 1.2k. Now it's only at 7 to 600 now. So I lost a good majority of the viewers, but I don't really care. ProCat99 VR. I feel like I have a solid post schedule and all that, but now my post schedule is pretty bad, yet still I prefer letting my videos take a long time and turning out pretty good than rushed terrible thing. Now, about my current making, I made some videos on Horrorworks Studio. It was the art of Horrorworks Studio. Now, it was decent. It would contain old versions of Ray Runners and Horrorworks, none of the new stuff, because I don't know why, but we never recorded new Ray Runners or Horrorworks content, which made me decently sad, because it's kind of sad how, even though that was a big part of me, we never recorded it. But this one person, they kept yelling at me in the comments, being pretty rude, because I don't know why. It's because I commented and replied on them, because they commented on someone's video saying cornball, and I'm like, you can get called cornball for anything at this point. They commented corn console or something like that on one of my videos. Now, they were I was it's fine, they're just being annoying. Then they started saying, I have more videos than you, and such. No, they said I have more subs than you, and such, and I was I don't care. And then I reached 23 right after they commented that, so I have more subs than them. They're at 84 or some, and right after they commented that, I had 87, which was ironic. And they said I post slob, but wanna know how I know they steal their content? I see the X recorder watermark for a single frame, because it only shows up where you're recording and then instant disappears. So if they wait and then start talking or doing whatever after that is gone, then it just gets them around the watermark feature. Now, they also say I post slop and they don't get all their things look like stolen edits and they look like they're around 9 years old, which is just ironic. No hate to them whatsoever, but I don't think you should be hating on someone because you have more subs. Like, and wanna know what's funny? It was on a video of how my life has changed others and how all, like, me and other people, like, our lives wouldn't have changed and such. And then they were just over here yelling at me in the comments, like, the video had Kit VR, Ketchup, Ninjago, Mr. Balls, Ray VR, and all that. Spearmint's one of the closest ones to me, so is Ray. And he was saying I have more subs, yet if you total up everyone who I mentioned, it would be around 15k minimum. And that just is ironic, because why bully someone for having a low sub count if they have the same amount saying I have more, you suck, and stuff. Now, I feel like those comments are only from brain rotted kids, and with my friend Newbie, somebody commented that they said disrespect to the brain rot kid, and I sound way older than him. Like, on the day of recording, so many people called me a unk, and then bro's calling me a brain rot kid, and then bro was like, that's my friend, he's older than me, and they said, whatever you say, kid. Now, it's just ironic to me that they would think that. Now, I don't hold anything against people like that, unless if they're just going at me for something that don't even make sense. And I do make some long form videos, and I make new YouTube channels a lot to get a fresh start, like Flakes Dev. That was secretly me because it was pretty obvious, but I just wanted a place where I could post a long form video in peace without any hate directed to me just because I commented on one person's video. Now, that video only got a couple, like 25 views. It took me around a good 18 hours to make, record, and edit, and a majority of that was to make a portal gun feature that didn't even work. The video was what if Aperture Science invented the grab pack. Now, what I had was pretty nice. If you want links to all the videos I'm mentioning, they will be in the description. And when I first started, like, having effect on others in a good way, that was like 2023, 2024, and I only had like 12 subs, and now I have over 100, and thank you all for that. Across all my channels, I am like at almost 200, so thank you all for putting me in triple digits, and I hope you like my explanation for this. And that's just who I am as a person in in-depth analytics. Now, here are the analytics, or the timeline. So, 2018 started first posting on YouTube, posting slop like content. And I got around 30 subs, a couple thousand views. Then I got a VR, started pairing up with Ray VR and making Horrorworks. Well, I made Ray Runners. And then 2024, 2023, I got my first VR, paired up with Ray, made the very first version of Ray Runners, then quit and left him, and then gained around 60 subs on a new YouTube channel. Then I made Horrorworks and became friends with Ninjago, Ketchup, and all of them. Ninjago, Ketchup, Kip, Spearmint, I have good memories with all of them. And then, in late 2024, 2025, I saw how terribly Paradox was doing. His 5 months' work was 3 days worth of proper work. He was not cut out for it. It was kind of like when I first started for Ray. So then I came back in 2024, 2025 and made the newest version of Ray Runners. And then I started this YouTube channel because I didn't want to work on that one no more. Now, I don't think I promoted this channel or anything, but it was originally meant to be a gaming channel with 2 of my friends. I think we had 3 Skulls Gaming or something. But then I just made it ProCat Remade because they didn't want to commit to it. And I didn't have a proper microphone or anything. My PC would break so frequently and such. So now, I also had this debate with this one person called ProCat VR, and this was right after I made my new VR channel. So they were saying I copied them and such. Their channel was a year old, and I was beefing with them, saying I had the username ProCat first, saying I had this for 5 or 3 years, and they were no, you didn't, your account's brand new, which pretty much annoyed me a lot, but I settled it by not mentioning them again. No. No. Also, in 2025, I was just curious. This was before the Slop AI creators exist. But I started a new YouTube channel, ProCat99999 VR, and made an AI video about Five Nights at Freddy's lore, and somehow I got 115 subs. Now, I don't condone using AI and stuff, but it's so surprising how quality gets nothing, but quantity and poor quality can get lots. Now, I don't know how I got that, but it's so surprising. And now today, I've made so many friends, so much has changed in my life, and I help so many others for better. Now, you can hate on me if you want, or my content, but I don't really care if you don't either. As long as I could change someone's life for the better, that's all I care about. If I can make at least 100 people's lives happy, then I think that's all I needed to do. Now, I've already made so many good friends. I got into this fake fallout with Ray one time about how he replaced me with Paradox, but I was young at the time. I don't hold anything against Ray anymore. We're actually like really good friends now. But I think that's it for the video now. So yeah, if you like this in-depth explanation about my channel and me personally, I think that if you like this, at least subscribing would be good too, but even if you just comment, thank you so much, and let me know in the comments if you like this type of video, as I don't think I'll post another one of these videos unless if someone says they liked it. So with that all addressed, I think it's time to go. Well, goodbye.